Real people, real opinions, Real Talk Radio. The multi-award-winning Niall Boylan Show.
Ireland's classic hits.
But it's that time of the night when we like to chat to interesting people. And as I said before, you never know who we might chat with. We cover everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But you really don't get badder or worse than a neo-Nazi. Yup, you heard it right. Our next guest is not a current neo-Nazi, but rather a former one. Axel Reitz was a leading neo-Nazi in Germany and shaped the extreme right-wing movement for many years. So much so, he was actually called the Hitler of Cologne. 10 years ago, he left the movement, realised how wrong his life went, and re-socialised with the help of the church and a government programme. Now he works as a consultant speaker and anti-violence trainer to prevent others, especially young people, from making the same mistakes that he made in his former life. Sounds fascinating? It absolutely does. Welcome to the show, Axel. Oh, sorry, wrong fader. Axel, are you there? Sorry about that.
Oh, sorry. You didn't understand me. I said I'm glad that that you have me on the show.
You're quite welcome. Now, let me go back to, I suppose, when it all started. I'm assuming you got just mixed up with the wrong crowd when you were younger, because at that time we wouldn't have really had social media. So it would have been just word of mouth, and you kind of got mixed up with the wrong people. I assume that's just how it started.
Yeah, that's right. But it wasn't so that I got fished up from the wrong people. I searched the wrong people because something happened to me. I have to explain, in my childhood, my father was a real dictator. Yeah, when he said the sky is red, I could bring him the entire NASA, and he would still say, they don't have a clue. I'm the one in charge. I know better, and the sky is red, and you have to shut up. And that made something with me. And I was very often triggered when I had in my mind that somebody is talking over my head and tells me how things are without hearing what I have to say to it. And this happened to me in school. I was a very good pupil in all the classes where you have good talking, like history, religion, politics. And my politics teacher, he made the suggestion that we should learn from the peak how democracy and the parliament is functioning. Mm-hmm. And they said, okay, to teach you this, not only in theory, but to do it yourself, you are scheduled to make a youth parliament. And we were 12, 13 at that time, and you guess nobody within that age has a clue about politics.
No.
Especially when it comes to parties and something. And so I got the task to organize all the programs from the little parties. We have a lot in Germany, but we have a restriction in the parliament. You have to get 5% of the voters to get into the parliament, or you stay out. And you can imagine many, many little parties stay out. And so my fellow school comrades and I are able to understand how diverse is the political scene. It was my task to organize all the programs. And I did that with great enthusiasm.
Yeah. And
I had very curious parties under all this stuff I organized. There was a German beer drinker party, which its only task was to drink a lot of beer. Very, very silly and
sounds very German to me, mind you. But
yeah,
yes,
very, very German. Yeah, there was all the other very German parties, like the Bavarian Party, who wanted to exclude Bavaria from the rest of Germany.
I was in Bavaria many years ago. What a beautiful place! I was in a place called Ruhpolding, which I believe, by the way, was Hitler's holiday home. And it's a beautiful place. It's down at the base of the Alps, and the people there are quite. Their culture is so different to Germany. I mean, they wear the lederhosen all the time. They're very traditional in their views, and they insist they are not German.
It's perfectly right. Yeah, you even have the problem. It depends on which part from Bavaria you come. When you come from Franken, Nuremberg, and so on, they say, "Oh, you're not a real Bavarian," because the guys around Munich and so say they are the top Bavarians.
Yeah.
Funny.
So I don't have too much time, so we want to get into how you gravitated towards what would be classed now as the extreme right wing. So who put these ideals into your head? Like, firstly, was your father, would he have been racist? Would he have discriminated? Would he have been homophobic? I mean, was he any of these kind of did he have right-wing traits?
No, not absolutely not. My father was a strictly conservative. He was a Christian Democrat, and everything which was radical or revolutionary was nothing for him. He rejected that all. He doesn't put anything in my mind. Mm-hmm. And the ideas came when my teacher, as I explained, when I made all the programs and showed them. She said, "Oh, Axel, you had done good. You became an A plus, but the right-wing parties, we don't show them." And I said, "Why not? They can be voted for. They are not forbidden. Why the heck do you want to censor them?" And that made me angry because it reminded me on how my father was treating me. Because my teacher said, "Shut up. I don't discuss that, and I don't show these parties here." And he trashed it in the can, the leaflets from these parties, and that triggered me. And I went to my father and told him what happened, and he said, "Your teacher done right. These parties are not good, and now leave me alone and mind your own business." But I had questions. I couldn't realize at that young age, at 13. What is so bad with these parties? What's wrong with them, and why aren't they allowed, like anybody else, to show what they stand for? And so I contacted the parties again, and one of the parties invited me to a meeting in Cologne. And
how old were you when you went to that meeting?
I was 13.
Wow.
13.
Okay.
Very, very green behind my ears.
Yeah, of course, like a sponge. You would have been like a sponge for information, I suppose. Yeah.
Yes, and so I went there. I was, you can imagine, I was curious, but I was also a little bit afraid because I couldn't tell, what people are there? Will they harm you? Are they bad people? And the people I met there were normal people. Yeah, they weren't skinhead, they weren't brown shirt people. They were normal people you could see every day in your business, at the bank account, or at the supermarket. And when I went there, it was kind of boring. They were talking about what's happening and where's the next struggle we have, and the next Wahlkampf, the next rally for parliament, and so on. And it was kind of boring until the evening ended, and I was introduced. Yeah, the guy in charge who said, "We have young people here. He's not like anybody else. He makes himself own picture, and he did not want that we get censored like all the time it's happening to us." And now I was standing there, 13 years old, green behind the ears, and around 30, 40 people applauded me and came to me and say, "Hey, it's great that you are here, and you're much more clever."
Yeah, that made you feel good. That made you feel a little bit powerful at 13, yeah.
Yeah, it was a love bombing. Called. I'm a little short person, but when I went out that evening, I felt myself like 2 meters high. I was.
I want more of this. Yeah, this is good. I like this feeling. Yeah.
Yes. The feeling was it, and the feeling was it what hooked me up. Yeah, it was not from interest for me what these people were telling. What was from interest for me, that they took care of me. Yeah, they told me what you think, what you want to know is important. They were not like my father or my teacher who said, "Shut the fuck up and go your own way." Yeah, they said, "It's important what you say, and we are here for you." Huh?
So they listened. And okay, so moving on, and at what point, I suppose, did you consider yourself? Because unfortunately, we would love to have a long time to talk to you because it's a really interesting story. But what point did you feel that you were fully developed as a neo-Nazi, or considered yourself a neo-Nazi, and you would have had all of this hatred inside you? At what point were you kind of 16, 17 years of age at that stage?
Oh, no, it happened very, very fast.
Oh, okay.
I was 13 when I joined the national movement, and at around that time when I became 14, 15, I called myself a national socialist. Yeah? I believed I'm living in a system which is built on lies and is controlled by people who want to harm Germany, who want to replace the German people, and I was very ill in my head. Yeah, I was very crazy, but at that moment it sounded for me totally logical. Yeah, because I was under. And sometimes I'm struggling for the right word.
No, you're doing really well. You're doing really well.
Under a glass. I
Yes.
was under a glass, and every time with the same people are telling you the same things, and everything what came from the other side, which would open my eyes and could say, hey, they're lying to you, and that's not true, and that's not right.
Yeah, it was essentially you were indoctrinated. You were kind of indoctrinated into this way of thinking because you were quite young. And I suppose in Germany, more so than anywhere else in the world, this would be, I'm not going to say quite normal for people to look down upon people like that, but it's quite dangerous because, of course, Germany has its own history. And even the word Nazi, sends shudders down people's spine, when we think of the word Nazi. But to people who think like that, they almost carry that like a badge.
Yes, yeah, that's the problem with it, yeah. Normally, someone would stay aside and would say, wow, look at what you do, and look how the people react to you, and that's not good, and you don't have a fortune, and you're ruining your life, and you're doing a lot of damage to society, to your own family. But when you are in such a structure, and when you are indoctrinated, and when you are radicalized, you wear it like a badge of honor. I was proud of it. I said, I'm standing here, I'm only one of a few, and the rest is stupid, and the rest is bored, and the rest don't know what's happening, but I do, and I will tell them if they want to hear it or not. And the more pressure I became, I was attacked from left-wing radicals, I was persecuted, I was 2 years in jail, the more I felt I'm doing the right thing. This only happens to me because I'm a danger, my kind of view, my politics are a danger to the guys in charge, and the guys in charge now persecute me and now battling me.
When we talk about your politics, you were racist, I assume?
Yeah, sure. I was very racist. I said German is only who has German parents, and German can't be anybody else who comes into our land. And so I wanted a clean Europe, a clean German, and I was a kind. I never said I'm a superior because I'm German, but I said every kind of people have their own place where they belong. Yeah, and as long as they belong there, everything is fine. And at the moment when the people try to mix up and leave their place where they have to stay, the problem begins. That was my kind of thinking.
And how did you get the title, the Hitler of Cologne? Because that was your title. Well, that was you were known as the Hitler of Cologne because you were a kind of key figure. You were a central figure. For people who don't realize the importance of you, you were a central figure in the German neo-Nazi scene. How did you get that title?
Yeah, but I did everything to earn it, yeah. I was never proud of it. I never called myself Hitler of Cologne. It was the media who said that's the Hitler of Cologne when I made rallies and so on. But, when you look at all pictures from me, I don't know if you have done it, you will see
I've seen them.
A little guy who looks like a little Hitler. Yeah,
waving a swastika. Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, it was very silly. It was like a cosplay, yeah. But I was there with a brown shirt, with a big leather coat, and I was making talks at my rallies, who reminded Hitler and Goebbels, and so it was. Yeah, I earned that title, and I'm
And
so
were you
proud of.
violent? Were you violent, Axel?
I was a verbal criminal. Yeah, I never hurt people with my fists. I did it with my words. Yeah,
Yeah.
when I was standing there and telling, these are the enemies of the people. We have to destroy them, and they can't get in our way. I was violent, but with my words.
Okay. And I'm assuming you hurt a lot of people in the process throughout your time, and I'm sure you reflect back on that now. I suppose, when did you get to a point where you realised you had gone too far in your extremism?
You see, for a storytelling, it would be great when I could tell you, at one evening I was sitting at the Rhine and I was a little bit depressed, and then I met Whoopi Goldberg. Yeah, a strong, black, Jewish feminist woman, and I fell in love with her, and suddenly I realized I've done horribly wrong, but this doesn't happen. Yeah, it would be a great story, but it wouldn't be true. And I can tell you one thing that changed my mind, because it takes a very long time to realize what have you done, to take responsibility for your actions, not to point with your finger to others and say, they're responsible and I was a victim. No, you have to realize that you are not a victim, that you are the one who did all these things without anybody forcing you to it. And what made my mind change was not one thing, it was a lot of things. You realize very quickly in this structure, which is full of hate, full of violence, full of fighting among each other, that this is different from that what you seek. When you are a National Socialist and you come into the scene as a young guy, you think, wow, we're all comrades and we all stick together, we're like brothers, and wow, we want a better Germany, no criminal action.
Can I ask you a question? Sorry. Did you look up to Hitler?
Yeah,
You admired him?
Yeah, I admired Hitler. Hitler was the Führer, he was the leader, he was the guy who tried to give the world something special in my twisted mind at that time, and he was the leader. I was.
And the fact that he was responsible for the death of 6 million Jews didn't even enter into your head. That didn't matter.
No. We said it didn't happen. Yeah, it was a cheap way, but we said, that's all lies. That's lies from the guys who want not that.
So you were a Holocaust denier on top of all of this.
I was a Holocaust denier. Yeah,
And which, by the way, for people who don't know, is illegal, by the way, in Germany and in many other countries in the world. It's illegal to be a denier. Did you go to jail for being a Holocaust denier?
No, not for that. When somebody asked me, I always told her, I'm sorry, I can't talk about it. The law prohibits it. I was not my fight to deny the Holocaust, but I was as a rebel rouser, I guess is the right word.
Yeah.
For speeches I made, for anti-Semitic and racistic speeches,
Okay.
I go to jail for 2 years.
So back to this, it wasn't a moment where you met Whoopi Goldberg, but when was the realization that you yourself were not a victim in all this, that you yourself were responsible? When did you take responsibility?
I took responsibility when I left the structures, when I went out of the movement, and that came because I couldn't do any more. Yeah? I was 15 years in this structure. I was 15 years National Socialist, and my life was destroyed. Yeah, I had no job. It wouldn't be possible at the Hitler from Cologne to gain any acceptance in the society, to get a job or something else. And I was depressed. I became very depressed, and I was struggling with my own comrades. Like I said, I imagined them as the best guys on earth, but I learned very, very quickly it's like Game of Thrones from Wish ordered, and it was very hard to be in the structure and with these guys, and I became very depressed. And at that moment, there was another police action. I got to jail another time, and that was the point where I said, I can't do that anymore, and I don't want that anymore, and I want to quit. And then I did something which is like in mafia structures, something you can't do as a leading guy. I cooperated with the police. And that was the point when I was out completely, because everybody who is in this scene said he's a traitor. And
So what did you do? You cooperated with the police and gave them information in relation to other individuals that were dangerous, possibly?
Yes. I talked with them. I told them everything I knew and said, I want to quit, I want to go out, and that's not my cup of tea anymore, and I want to change my life.
Okay.
And
and did you, when you say you wanted to change your life, did you know that in your own mind, your views and your admiration of Hitler, your admiration of Hitler's policies, your admiration of the policies you thought were correct about, being indigenously German, but, otherwise you couldn't like them. Did you know did you then realize all those things in your head were wrong? Or did you have to kind of force yourself to believe that?
Not overnight. Yeah. When you see I was 15 years a Nazi, and you don't stand up in the morning and push a red button and you are a completely changed human being, it took a lot of time, and I had a lot of help. I had good contacts to a pastor from the church who came to me and talked to me about my family, my personality structure. And I went to a program from the state, especially for right-wing extremists, to go out and leave the structures and live a good life. And I was for many years in these programs and had a lot to face and a lot to understand. And I can't point at the calendar and say now on May the 5th I was a new man. Because the changing is a process. Yeah, you do it. A lot of time is needed, and it's like running a marathon run. Yeah,
Ireland's Classic Hits Radio.
I do apologise, Axel. We just lost you there before the break, but we were at the point, I suppose, where you turned your life around, and you're now helping other people, I suppose, and supporting other people who are in a similar situation to you.
I do. I make a lot of consultings. I have a YouTube channel. I wrote a book about my life and want to show the people it doesn't matter what you've done wrong. You can always do it better. And don't make the mistakes I made in my life. Yeah, life is too precious, and you shouldn't waste it with hate and violence and with extremism. And that's my task I have in my life now, to show the people change is possible.
And is there still many neo-Nazi groups in Germany now?
Yeah, we have a lot of neo-Nazis in Germany, but we have also a lot of other right-wing extremists. We have the so-called Alternative for Germany, the AfD, who is very popular right now. And there are different...
But here's the thing, can I ask you, have we diluted the word right wing? Because what happens in society now is it's really separated itself. Before you used to have a lot of centrists. Now you have extreme left and extreme right. Or maybe they're not really extreme left and extreme right. Maybe they're just people who have different viewpoints. And they just get called that because they might have a different viewpoint in relation to, say, immigration, in relation to LGBT, in relation to whatever it happens to be. But they might have a slightly different viewpoint, but not hatred, but just a different viewpoint of the way policy should be done. And we immediately disregard it. We say, oh, they're just extreme right wing. Oh, they're just extreme left wing. Is that a case that sometimes we've diluted the words, extreme right and extreme left?
Yeah, sure. We always like in Germany to label people, and we don't talk anymore. We just say he's the enemy because he's right-wing, he's left-wing, and so on. And that's a kind of problem. Separation is very deep in society at the moment. But that can't take us the responsibility to look at the things people say on the right and on the left, and when they are against the democracy, and when they're not only telling their opinions, but there are hate mongers. Yeah,
they're encouraging violence. In other words,
yeah,
yes.
They're encouraging violence, or they're encouraging a system which isn't democratic anymore, so that everybody can live in it, and that's a problem. And that's a problem we have at a very wide range at the right wing. Yeah.
And have you ran yourself now? I mean, are you encouraged now maybe to move into politics yourself in Germany?
I'm a liberal, and I support the Liberal Party in Germany, the Free Democrats, but I'm not a member, and I think it's not my cup of tea to become a politician. I want to work there where it's much more needed, to go to schools and tell the young people, how precious democracy is and free speech is, and how wrong it is to wish dictatorship, or to wish someone who cleans Germany, or some stupid things I told them when I was...
It's a lot more dangerous now, I suppose, for young people in particular, because the internet, of course, social media has made it so much easier for young people to be brainwashed into a certain way of thinking.
It is, absolutely is, and that's why it is a great task we have to achieve in Germany, as well as in the rest of the Western world, to look what our children are doing, to look what people are telling them when they go to TikTok, YouTube, and so on, and to tell them as soon as possible what our thinking is, as Democrats, as liberals, as people who want free speech and freedom for everyone possible.
And again, as I said, you're now a consultant speaker, and you know an anti-violence trainer. You've got a certificate. You've got a YouTube channel, and maybe you should pronounce it because I will pronounce it wrong. But I think it's called the Reitz effect. How do you pronounce it? Reitz, is it?
Reitz effect. Yeah, it's a little joke with my name. Yeah, because I'm Axel Reitz. It's my name, but it only means in Germany to trigger someone. And
okay.
My channel is there to trigger extremists. Yeah, it isn't only going against right-wing extremists. I'm against every kind of extremism. It doesn't depend if religious, of Islamic, or Antifa, or something else. Extremism is never good. There is no good extremism.
No, nothing good comes from extremism. Nothing good. But look, it's been wonderful talking to you, and I'm delighted you turned your life around. I'm sure when you look back on your life, you're quite ashamed of some of the stuff you might have said in the past. But look, everybody deserves a second chance in life. Everybody deserves to be able to turn their life around and leave, the past in the past, provided they, I suppose, repent in some way, or they understand what they did was wrong at the time. And I wish you well. And I hope you have a continued successful career in looking after other people and teaching other people the way forward. And the Reitz Effect is the YouTube channel, and that's spelled R-E-I-T-Z, by the way, R-E-I-T-Z, if you want to go to the YouTube channel. Axel, it's been lovely talking to you. Listen, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, and have a good time. I wish everybody who was listening to me to see, even if you see someone you hate for what he's doing, always remember there is a human being behind it, and the human being can change every time he wants.
Real people, real opinions, Real Talk Radio, the multi-award winning Niall Boylan Show.